In order for two computers to communicate with one another, there has to be some kind of transmission medium and some kind of protocol. The transmission medium is just some way to get the signal from the first computer to the second one, and it can be either guided through cables or wires, or it can be unguided, such as radio signals or light signals. The protocol is a set of rules that are going to govern the communication that are taking place between the two computers. And in 1984, the ISO, which is the International Standards Organization, created a model to standardize the communication between different types and brands of a computer. And this model is called OSI, or Open Systems Interconnect. The reason why we needed to standardize the communication is because there is a very good possibility that the computers that are communicating are not based upon the same platform. Therefore, they're not speaking the same primary machine language. And so the OSI, the 7 layers of the OSI model, allowed us to standardize the communication that is occurring between multiple types of devices. There are 7 layers in the OSI model. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. So the 7th layer is the application layer. These are the processes that are running on your machine that need to communicate with the outside world. When you launch a web browser, or if you click on the online help in a Word document, or you have some kind of a software update that automatically runs on your computer, these launch processes on your machine that begin communication with the outside world. Layer number 6 is the presentation layer. The presentation layer formats the data from the application layer. It translates the characters and does syntax selection as well as data encryption. So the presentation layer is responsible for receiving information from the application layer, formatting it, doing syntax selection, and then encryption if necessary. So the 5th layer of the OSI model, is the session layer. This is the layer that's responsible for establishing, maintaining, and terminating the session between two devices. So the session layer is responsible for the connection. If you notice in your textbook, there was a conversation between two computers where computer 1 says, "Are you ready?" Computer 2 says, "I'm ready." Computer 1 says, "I'm sending packet 1." Computer 2 says, "I'm receiving packet 1." And then computer 1 says, "I'm terminating the connection." And computer 2 says, "Connection terminated." That occurs at the session layer. The next layer of the OSI model is the transport layer. The transport layer is responsible for the guaranteed delivery of data, for fault detection, error recovery, and flow control. So this is responsible for making sure that the data coming across is correct, that it has no errors in it, and that all of the data packets have arrived. The next layer, number 3, is the network layer. The network layer says, how do I get where I need to go? What routers am I going to go through? What is the IP address of the computer that I'm trying to find? The network layer is responsible for the routing and the forwarding of the data. So it's responsible for connectivity and path selection between the source and the destination computers. So let me move the screen up a little bit, and we'll talk about the 2nd layer of the OSI model, is the data link layer. The data link layer is responsible for the reliable transit of the data across the physical link. So it's based upon physical addressing. It does error notification and flow control as well. So where the network layer uses the IP address for the source and the destination, the data link layer uses the MAC address of the routers in order to forward the packet from a source along each one of the individual routers along the way to the final destination. And the 1st layer of the OSI model is the physical layer. So the physical layer is the cables, the network cards, the physical components that actually transmit the information along the path from the source to the destination. So these are the 7 layers of the OSI model. Let's see if we can get a better understanding of how these 7 layers work as a message is transmitted from a source to a destination.